I love Scotch. Scotchy Scotch Scotch. Here it goes down into my belly.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, San Diego. I'm Gundidi. Hey guys, and welcome back for another Whiskey Wednesday. I got my co-taster here, Mama Cole, as everyone knows. This week we are going back to whiskey. This week we're going to do a Scotch whiskey because, you know, Scotch is one of my favorites. I prefer Scotch over most whiskeys. Bourbon's just my number one, and then it's Scotch. But this guy, of course, is Johnnie Walker Black. And unless you've been living under a rock, you probably have heard of Johnnie Walker Black. It's probably the most common Scotch. It is a blended Scotch. It's not a single malt. So that means that they take a few different batches and kind of blend it together to make a cohesive product. What tends to happen at that point is every bottle pretty much tastes the same. You very rarely get variations between bottles because they are blended to a certain spec that they're looking for. So, but what we're going to do, of course, is try out the Johnnie Walker Black on camera for you guys and tell you our opinion on it. You ready?
Sounds good. I'm ready.
All right. Of course, we're going to start out with straight up. That's the best way to taste whiskey. It'll at least give you a flavor profile. And then from there, you can start making it to where how you enjoy it. Me personally, I enjoy Scotch on the rocks. But there are people who enjoy cocktails. They enjoy straight up. They enjoy a little water. Straight up is the best way to at least try the whiskey. So I suggest anyone that's getting into tasting alcohol or tasting something new completely, start with straight up. See what you think of it first that way, and then move into cold, warm cocktails, whatever you like at that point. There's no wrong way to drink anything, especially not whiskey. There's just better ways to taste it to get you better profiles of it. But we'll start with some smelling notes. Very woodsy. Now they are aged in old bourbon barrels that are imported from America to Scotland. So they are used barrels that were used for bourbons or whiskeys here in America. And then most of the scotches over there are aged in those whiskeys or in those barrels. Because American bourbons have to be a new oak. So we have to start over fresh and new for every batch of whiskey we make in a barrel. So instead of letting it go to waste, we sell it off to Scotland and they get to age their whiskey in it.
All right. I definitely smell vanilla, but the more you swish it around, you get different nuances.
Definitely. Yeah, I can smell.
It's very oaky.
Yeah, there's a lot of wood smell. There's a little bit of vanilla. Not a lot of vanilla, but a little bit. There's a little bit of smoke smell to it too.
That's what it is. For whatever reason, I'm thinking banana, but it's not that. But it's almost like the Bananas Foster, where it's like burnt, and so that's the vanilla and the smoke. It's making me think that, I guess.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's try a little taste and yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
I'm a big fan of Scotch. One of the things I love about Scotch is most Scotches have like a smoky taste to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy that smoky taste, especially when I'm smoking a cigar. It just brings out that flavor a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of it?
It definitely has a smoky taste to it. I'm trying to put my finger on what it is that I'm tasting. It's definitely smoky, but almost like a cocoa type taste.
Yeah,
I don't know where that's coming from.
I want to honestly say it tastes like the way wood smells when it's charred.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the way this tastes right off the bat. And then it's got kind of a sweeter note at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like it. Johnnie Walker is one of my lower scotches that I go for, but it's a good go-to scotch because it's almost at every bar. You can find red or black label at almost any bar. I believe the difference is the red label is only an 8-year scotch and the black year is a 12. But you know, I'll have to do some research and I'll annotate it on the video here if I'm wrong. But I believe it's 8 for the red and 12 for the black. That's the biggest difference, is how long it's been sitting in the oak barrels.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna do another one, see if I can get any other notes out of there. No, I didn't think ahead and get tasting notes on this. My bad. Maybe with tasting notes we'd be able to identify some of the more key notes, because we're not.
It's even got a smoky feel.
It does. It does. And it gives you a warm chest feel, very similar to bourbon, but a little bit milder than bourbon. Bourbon tends to light you up on the inside. So, okay, well, let's try it with a little bit of water. That always seems to change the flavors of whiskeys because it knocks down some of the oils from the top and lets you taste. Ooh, hello. I went a little heavy on the water. Keep doing that. And what it'll do is it knocks down the oils, so that way you can actually taste the whiskey itself, and you're not tasting all the alcohol oils on top.
Okay.
See, it's a totally different flavor once you put a little water into it. So it milds it down a little bit, so you're not getting so much harsh alcohol flavor right on the bat. So you can actually taste the other flavors in there. And honestly,
it's even more woodsy, I feel like, and it's very like mesquite-y.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost nutty.
Yeah.
In the flavor profile now that you put a little water in there. Just something different.
That would make a really good old fashioned.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how well it'll hold up against well, I mean, sugar and water. It should. But
well, that's when I think of mesquite and smoke. I think of barbecue, and you do a lot of oranges and marinades. So
that's fair. I'm a big old-fashioned fan, but you have to usually use a strong bourbon or a strong rye to get the flavors out of it. Because if you use something weak,
and I like to mix stuff up.
It tears it all apart. But yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and add some ice to this and see what you think with Scotch on the Rocks.
Okay.
I personally love Scotch on the Rocks. That's one of my favorite go-tos. So that's what we're going to kind of do, and just throw a couple ice cubes in there just to cool it down. You don't have a whole lot of whiskey left in there, so I'll just give you one to cool it down.
Yeah.
I'll just do one as well. Big old giant ice container just for one ice cube. So the purpose of ice is to cool down the drink. When you cool down or heat up any beverage, it changes the way your taste buds perceive it. So that's why you tend to like coffee hot or really cold, but you don't really like coffee in that middle ground, in that room temperature area.
Kind of like also, if you were to drink a soda or pop, whatever, drinking it cold, like with lots of ice, it hits that spot like that. Everyone says McDonald's soda, whatever. But if you drink it just straight from a can at room temperature, it just tastes like garbage.
It does, and you get a little bit more of that syrupy flavor on like, especially Coca-Cola. When you drink a warm Coca-Cola, it's a very syrupy and not so great. But you put it over ice, or you get it straight out of the fridge when it's icy cold, and it's bubbly and it's refreshing, and you can actually enjoy the flavors. Same thing goes with whiskey. When it's straight up, you're gonna get how the distiller originally planned on it tasting. How they taste it. Granted, they taste it straight from the barrel, so it's a higher proof, but you get more of what they're looking for in the notes. Once you start cooling it down and everything, that's when it starts changing the flavor profiles. I like them on the rocks because I live in the desert. It's hot here. We don't want a hot drink when it's, or even a room temperature drink when it's hot outside. We want a nice ice cold drink. So I put it on the rocks because I enjoy an ice cold drink.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try it out with an ice cube and see what you got. See, I like that so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what it does is it miles down the wood flavor, the smoky wood flavors, and it brings out the more nuttier notes of this whiskey. It doesn't. You're not tasting so much of the smoke now. There's the smoke in the back side of your tongue, but it's on the front part. You're just tasting that nutty flavor that we were getting at the first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to the ice situation. The reason why a lot of guys tell you only put one ice cube in there in your drink, or don't bruise the whiskey, don't put a bunch of rocks in there. There's a little bit of science to that. You do want to use a bigger ice cube if you can get your hands on it. Preferably one of the molded ones. I don't have molded ones. I just have ice that we get from the store. So I try to get the biggest ice cube I can get. And what it does is it increases the surface area of the ice cube, so it doesn't the alcohol doesn't melt the ice as quick, and it doesn't water down the whiskey as quick. Yeah, when you have a bunch of little ice cubes in there, they melt that ice so quick. Boom, boom, boom. And before you know it, you have whiskey water. And I mean, if you like whiskey water, that's great.
That's what good whiskey stones are for, too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you can get your hands on whiskey stones, then you're going to not water your whiskey down at all, and you're just going to cool it down. So there's pluses and minuses to that. The water dumbs down the oils in here. The coolness changes the flavor profile. So if you use just whiskey stones, you're not going to dumb down those oils, but you will cool the whiskey down. So it's whatever you feel comfortable with. I will say be careful with those whiskey stones, because when you're drinking them, those things like to slide back and hit you right in the teeth. And whoo! It hurts when you get one of those hit your teeth with some velocity. Like I said, scotches are one of my favorites. I'm a big fan of scotch, and I think you're gonna start coming down the scotch train with me.
Choo choo.
We'll definitely try some more scotches on here. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and throw them down in the comments. Granted, these videos haven't been getting a ton of views, but we enjoy making them. Yeah. So the people who keep coming back every week to watch them, we thank you, and share them with your friends. Cheers.
Mine's gone.
Now mine is too. See you next week.